Hey,
Hey,
this is weird. This is my first time doing this from FCI.
I know. You're right in your little room there.
I know you can even see the bat on the wall behind me, and it just thing says bat room. Today it's just bat.
It's just bat themed.
It's a little cold in here, but I'll live. I've got the
It's
heater
like,
behind me. I'm sitting so close to the heater that I'm like directly in front of it.
oh, that's hot. That's the only way to be.
All right. Oh, I moved my whole table over and everything so I can sit right in front of it. I don't care.
I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing.
So should we just go right ahead and bring out our guest because she's so super amazing, and
hmm
I'm so happy to have her here. Our guest today is Steph Pitz, the creator and owner of Haunted Havens, one of the forces behind the upcoming Cleveland Paracon, and so much more. I'm so excited she's here. So here comes Steph.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
What's going on behind you? What's all that?
So actually I normally do my TikTok lives right here. This is exactly what it normally looks like. Um, Sometimes we have more dolls up there, and on the floor next to me, but these are all my adoptable dolls that I have. I do have a lot more that are adoptable, but I don't have room on the screen for all of them. So we kind of just keep it in screen's length, basically. So that's what's behind me right now. I just added a couple more, so in case you guys wanted to see them, there's plenty of them.
wow, they're so cool.
They are
Are they
actually really
are
cool.
they all haunted?
They are all haunted. Some are given to me, some I pick out myself. Some I've had for quite some time, and they're all priced differently depending on the spirit type. Like we had a really negative spirit that we had listed really high because most of mine are pretty affordable considering. But on my lives, these are the ones that like to be on the camera, and they actually interact with the guest in the comments. And they'll set off the cat balls. Like Mandy Fair from Creepy Crates, she has bought at least like 5 dolls just off of the TikTok lives.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow, she is quite a collector from what I know. I'm
She
up
just,
to 3 now. I have 3 haunted dolls finally.
dang. You
I
only
just
had,
bought another
I was
one.
gonna say you started with one.
I know. I just bought another one because somebody I know that collects them kept sharing someone's post about some.
That's what you said.
Oh no. Did I freeze again?
You
You
did.
did, yeah.
It wasn't doing that before, but it's doing it now.
You're at Fairfield.
Right. Right. Who knows if this is a technical issue, if it's ghosts.
They are
For
mad. Well, something's mad.
for 3 days now, I've had cords getting lifted up and dropped in this room. There's all kinds of weird shit happening in this room.
There, that green thing next to your head yesterday too.
I forgot about that. Go ahead and talk about that.
So I'm just sitting there and we're going over Paracon stuff, and Christopher's talking, and I was about to say something in response to him, and just like this little ball of green light just forms right in front of my eye, and it literally had like a glowing green energy around it, and it just pops off right next to his head, and it just blipped right, like it just like came out like a trail, stopped, and just disappeared. And I'm just staring at him, but I wasn't staring at him, I was staring next to him, and then I'm looking at him, I'm like, something just floated from your head, like a little green spark. And he said that he saw something. He was like, I was just looking in the mirror behind you and I thought I had seen something right behind me. And I'm like, it was literally like a little green ball, like not like a little sparkle. Like sometimes you see like little sparkles that look like orbs and stuff too, which I do think is paranormal. I'm not saying it's not, but this was different. This was like foggy, weird glow. Like, I don't know. And it was you couldn't see through it. I'll tell you that right now. Like, it was just a solid green ball, and it came right from behind him out of his head, and it just stopped. Like, it stared at me and I stared at it. Poof, gone. I'm like, what the heck was that? I've never seen anything like it.
That is
I didn't see nearly as much of it as you did, but just the movement was enough to make me look up.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what the heck is that? I mean, it was right in front of my face. There was no not seeing it.
That's interesting.
I think if Penny would have been listening to us, because she was quiet for so long in and out of her tablet. At some point she was listening to our story, and some point she wasn't. I think if she would have been facing that way at that point, she definitely would have seen it too. But it was there. She heard the growl. She heard the growl and the footsteps. So I know she would have seen that ball.
Right. Yeah, she's pretty attuned. She picks up on things.
Oh, she won't tell you though. Like, she will not say it unless you say it. And that's how I was, because you just feel weird. Like, you feel like that really didn't happen. And that's definitely her. She will not speak on it unless somebody else says it first.
You want that validation before you could.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be told she's wrong, or like have people think she's lying or something. I think that's what it is.
Which makes sense. I mean, like, I think that's like how most people start whenever they start to dive into having some sort of psychic ability, because there is that sort of lack of trust in your own abilities when you're starting. Hell, that's something that I think I still struggle with at the point and period that I'm in right now. Is a lot of times I don't trust it as much as maybe I should.
Yeah. I think that's everybody's issue. They never know what's going on when that happens. And I think everybody's so used to being taught the paranormal is bad. It's not real. Stay away from it.
Right.
Anti-Christ type stuff. And it's the complete opposite. When you come on one of my tours, if you come to Coco's or the theater, anywhere we go, including Fairfield, I have a speech an intro we start out with. And I'm like, the paranormal is not something to be scared of. It's literally talking to a spirit, which is a human being. So I expect you to treat them like human beings, or you can get out, because I don't play that. And like I was telling Christopher, these teams coming in really have to start thinking of new questions and start getting creative, because these locations have been repetitively the same thing over and over. Like, when we go in, my kids are coming, we're playing Duck Duck Goose, we're reading stories, we're doing all sorts of different things. We made charm bracelets, we made keychains at Bill Manor when we were there for Christmas, and the guests got to take their Bill Manor bracelet. Or at Wildwood, we made protection bracelets. We do all sorts of different things. We don't just go straight into investigating, especially being a guest in the spirit's home. I want them to all come together and feel each other out before you just jump in and start asking about their past and how they died and this, that, whatever. All these personal questions. Do you expect somebody to really answer you? No. Let's not do that.
This is exactly why I've thought about renting myself out to teams. Like, I'll go under Estes and Channel, so they have a different line of communication. But what I would call this would be meat suit rental. You're renting the meat suit.
That's a really actually good idea, because I refuse to do Estes on my tours, because all the guests, like my regulars, they're always like, oh, Stephanie, you do it. We like when you do it. Well, of course you like when you do it, because you have a direct line of communication and I'm pretty good at Estes. I don't want that to be the case. That's not why I want you to come on my tours. My tours are established so you can learn how to do it and do it yourself and keep practicing and watch how everyone else does. I'm not here to just consistently do it for you. I will do it, but not the whole time. I want you to learn and experience it yourself. That's what it's about.
It's interesting about what you're saying, because I 1,000% agree with what you're saying, but something that Christopher and I have actually been experimenting with a little bit, because as anybody that's watched any of our videos will see, is that Christopher is always the main one that goes under, and I always ask the questions, because it is that sort of direct line communication. But
easy.
And we had this sort of thought, though, because like we've come to find out that I actually have the ability to channel as well, but I do it completely different than how he does it.
Right.
because he's more of actually just channeling straightforward what the spirit is, where for me it's more of I sort of get these images or ideas in my head and stuff like that. So we had this idea, what if, because the reason I don't typically go under Estes is because even though I hear the voices under the headset, I'm not really good at interpreting what they're saying in the moment. So that's why typically I'd never go. But then we had this thought that what if I go under Estes normally, but instead of trying too hard to like just listen to what it's saying, also if there's anything that pops up in my head that I think is like
That's what
important.
I do. I don't sometimes with some, because sometimes you can't figure out the voices and what they're saying because it's broken up and it's just words. So I kind of just tune that out and I close my eyes and I just tune everybody out and I just listen to what's being said in my head. Because for me, I can hear a lot of voices and I get it mentally versus through the headphones. And sometimes I don't even like to use the SB7. I kind of just like to sit and listen and pick up the energy from the room. And I think that's more what it's about. Really, I think the SB7 is just a helpful thing that goes with it. But obviously for like people that don't have a good intuition, like Christopher and I are, they just have a wall up for whatever the case may be. The SB7 is obviously going to be very, very helpful for that person.
It also is kind of like the idea of it's the specific frequency that's running is that's sort of putting or heightening the energy in order for that sort of intuition to take place.
Right.
But it's also nice too because like it's a lot easier. So if we sit in a room with a bunch of people, if I just sit there with no headset, no nothing, and I tell them, hey, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing, obviously it's a lot easier to be like, oh, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
However, if I give you the headphones and everything and I show you, I can't hear a word you're saying, right? And then I do it and then I'm still answering what somebody's asking. It's kind of like you have to at least be like, all right, that's weird.
Right, exactly.
So that's why it's kind of like no matter what, I still like to do it for the Estes method purpose in the sense of it stays in that realm of like if you have anybody new, they still know that you can't see them or you can't hear them. So it's kind of like, what's going on here? How are they able to do this?
Yes.
That's something that I'm still working on, but as Christopher can sort of tell you, we've had some weird sessions that I've done when I've done this.
Have you both ever been under at the same time and done double Estes?
Not yet, but there is a location that we're most likely getting ready to go to, and we're going to be doing this.
Yeah, you guys should definitely do that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's like more of we were told we had to do it.
Right.
We were told in advance we had to do it.
By a spirit?
Yes. Under Estes, actually. we were told under Estes that we both had to go under Estes at the same time in this.
I think it's a good idea.
Location. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised you guys haven't already done it.
I think typically the reason we haven't is because most of the times whenever we go to a location, it's typically because there's something that either we were told we had to do there or there's something we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
So most of the investigation is more of we just do what I think is necessary for the moment, and it hasn't come up yet. Like that particular situation hasn't really come up yet, but then we were told, hey, in this specific location, you need to do this.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And you always get caught up in investigations because you're there and just things just happen. Like yesterday, me and Christopher, we were doing so many things at one time. It's just because you're not there all the time and you're in that moment. And just like I said, things just keep happening and interrupting you and you get sidetracked. So I get it. I'm just surprised you guys just never done it in general. That was just surprising.
No, I get it. Like, cause like I kind of think of it in the same sense of it's like, it is weird that some of these experiments we haven't done at this point, but it just looking back at it, I think it is just because in most of the investigations we go, there's never really a period of time where we're just sitting there like, oh, what should we do next? It's like literally from, and again, most of the reason is because most of the places we go, it's because we were previously told you're going to this place and this is essentially what you need to do when you're there. So the entire time we're just like, all right, we need to do this, we need to do that, and we're sort of game planning for what needs done rather than I think what we want to do at the same time.
Yeah, I totally get that. There is one experiment that I think you guys should do at Fairfield when it comes time to it, because I know Christopher's gonna take care of that issue, and I know he's gonna do whatever type of cleanse he needs to do at that time. I think when you do that, you should put a recorder throughout the building in the problem rooms, like either just regular recorders, and I think you should put one of your like video recorders in that room we were at yesterday and in that hallway. And while you're doing the cleanse, have it all recording and go back and listen and see what you might hear while you're doing that.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I think you should do that. I think that you might get some crazy stuff on EVPs while you do that.
Yeah, I think so.
And I do want to say, like, without putting too much of it out there, because it's something that just happened and we don't, especially me, I don't have a lot of the information about it, just what you guys told me before we actually started recording. I do want to say, though, it's got my attention. Like, I feel really, like, drawn to get involved, like, with this sooner rather than later.
I agree.
I'll have to talk to you about getting something set up here sooner rather than later, because I do feel sort of like, I feel like, too, because we haven't investigated together in a minute, I'm, like, out of the loop, and I'm like, oh, I need back in. Tap me back in, coach.
I can probably get us in here anytime. And I know we've talked about not going anywhere in the cold.
Yeah.
But I am going to stand by this. It has not been as cold in here as it has been in past winters.
And
I think that's good.
It wasn't unbearable yesterday, and we were sitting in one room. I mean, we did have the heater going, but I only had my hoodies on. I took my jacket off in and out. And I mean, when we were out in the building, I put my coat back on, but I think if you just layer up, you'll be fine.
Friday night, I was roaming around the building all night. I was not in the one heated room. I was cold, but I wasn't miserable.
And I think it depends on your energy. Like if you're not wanting to be there and you're just sitting there, you're going to be more cold than like, I'm happy to be here. I'm ready to do this. You heard something.
I think it's still the vacuum.
Okay.
It's far enough down the hall that when it started again, it sounded like some sort of wheezing or hissing.
Oh, well.
I think it's still the vacuum.
It's actually the evil
It's the vacuum. We're going with it's the vacuum.
And it's actually getting closer now, and it's definitely the vacuum.
Okay, good.
I can only imagine what my face looked like as I looked to the door. Like,
I mean,
your
attention was definitely drawn that way. So,
I mean, you have to. If you hear or see something, you have to say something.
There's never a dull moment around here.
Also,
Saturday, what's that?
I was gonna say also because like I didn't read your text last night because like I said I got home. I can't remember what time I got home, but I was at the poker game yesterday and I got home and I was so tired I just like literally passed out on the couch. But we do need to set up the going to Coco's with Steph.
Anytime. Yeah. And Sunday and Mondays were closed, like I told Christopher. So we can do Sunday, Mondays easily, or if she doesn't have anything Saturday night, she doesn't care. But those are like her usual big event nights, so she never lets me schedule anything those days.
Right.
It's totally fine. And also, downtown Cleveland is a lot less noisy on Sunday and Monday nights.
That's nice.
This is the weekend. So it's a lot better for noise contamination. We are underground, but sometimes when the bars are really going on Fridays and Saturdays, right, you can hear the vibrations, especially like you'll see how Christopher knows, you can't describe it. You have to see it.
You really do.
Say.
Yeah. It's such a cool place.
Hell yeah.
It's
I
really
can't wait to
awesome.
be there.
It's from the 1800s, that building. And then Coco's itself was where the horses and carriages were held. It's also connected to the Residence Inn, the Marriott. So you have Coco's down below, which is in a shop, and it's like all connected. A trolley used to run down there. It was a gym. It was a ballet studio. It was like a revolving door for a really long time. And then it sat completely empty and just like pretty nasty. The homeless and stuff would go down there until about 6 years ago. COVID hit, and a lot of the shops in the arcade closed down. So when you see it, this past year, it actually has been filling up a lot. So the past time you came, Christopher, there's it was pretty empty in the shops on the arcade, but now there's a lot more shops that have filled up, which is a really good thing.
That's great.
So you'll see a difference when you come, but back when COVID was around, it was completely bare and empty. So Coco saw this opportunity to take over down there and contacted the owner and turned it into her own little thing, which is now the selfie studio, but it's more than a selfie studio. So like you can ask Christopher, like I hate saying selfie studio because people in their head are just like, you know, like I don't want to go to a selfie studio. Bro, it's not, it's beyond a selfie studio. Like we just go there to hang out. Like we're pretty much family at this point. I mean, Christopher knows we go there, we hang out. It's such a good vibe. Like they're very welcoming. Hanford Dixon is Coco's husband. He's an NFL player. He started the dog pound for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
So he's there. His office is there. It's a good vibe. It's really cool. We've always got all sorts of different people dropping by, and the spirits are wild.
They are.
They are wild.
Yes, they are.
And we have multiple layers of spirits there. So you have spirits from the 1800s and before that, and you have prime time right now spirits and all in between. And you have to consider it's downtown Cleveland. So you have cops, you have homeless, you have drug addicts. I hate to say it, but they all come through and they like to tell their stories. And it's really funny because you can tell it's a new spirit compared to our regular spirits that are there, because the regulars are like, get them out of here. Who is that? And they like throw their names out and they're like, Stephanie, like do something about this. And it's hilarious. They are hilarious.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a good time there.
And this is the place that is going to be hosting the Cleveland Paracon, correct?
Yeah, it is. It's going to be really cool because the Coco's itself, like I said, it's a selfie studio, but it has an event space that people have weddings in there. We have birthday parties. There's like all sorts of events that go in there. So that's where we're going to have all our panels, all of our speakers, that type of deal. And then up above is the arcade, and that's a separate space. That's completely free to the public. So that's why we are letting the vendors go up there and rent their own spaces out and do their own thing. So then it can be this really big thing besides just a small con within Coco's. It's going to be a huge community thing versus just paranormal, which is what Cleveland needs, really, because there's a lot of history down there that people have no idea. There's a monument to the war down there. A lot of people don't even know Cleveland is actually misspelled. It's actually spelled with an A. And because it couldn't fit into the newspaper print, they removed the A, and then it just became Cleveland with an E, like two E's versus the A being. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot downtown Cleveland that people just really have no idea. Majority of the hotels down there are haunted. The Showfield, the one connected to the arcade, Hotel Cleveland, anybody within that vicinity, those hotels definitely have paranormal activity.
I still want to get into those tunnels.
The tunnels, they always open up in the spring. It's usually April or May, and I always keep my eye out, and they always sell out before I can even get a ticket. But even if they sell out, you can just show up downtown at the time that the tours are. You just got to wait for that tour to get done, and they kind of like squeeze you in between as they can. So we just got to be down there at the right time, but it's hard. It's been the past 3 years, and I haven't done it yet. So... But I did just meet somebody, a photographer. He's supposed to message me. He hasn't yet. He works there, and he was very interested in taking me and a few people down there. So I'll let you know because you'll be going with me.
Yeah,
I
that
will
would be awesome.
change whatever I need to in my calendar to make
Yes,
that happen.
yes. And they're right under the monument. So there's a door within the monument that we go into the monument. It's right down the street from Coco's in the square. And you just go right down below. And I've never been in there. So it's really cool.
There's probably bats down there. You'll get to see me at my best.
I heard it's pretty negative down there. Like they say the energy down there is really not a good vibe. I've done Estes sessions above at nighttime with a group of people. We didn't get anything negative. We actually got stuff related back to Coco's. But that was about it. We didn't get anything nasty. So I'm definitely interested to go down there to pick up the vibe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always down for tunnels.
And the cemetery is also across the street that I took you and Patience and everybody to after Coco's that night. That's Erie Street Cemetery. So we'll have to take you there as well. There's a lot of history to that as well. There's Indian chiefs that are arch nemesis, like they hate each other, and they buried them right next to each other. And you'll notice there's a tree that grew in between the tombstones and actually cracked one of their stones. Like it separates them. It's really interesting. There's a little girl that runs around there at nighttime too. You can sometimes catch her on camera if you're good at that. So there's a lot to do down there, and people just have no idea. So that's why I really wanted to get this con going and get more places for people to go, really, because nobody knows about Coco's.
And it's such a great place. So it really is.
It's so cool.
I don't think there's anything else like it. All the places I've been, there's nothing quite like Coco's.
See, I hate to say that because people because I created it. I don't want people to think like I'm just saying that because I made it. But genuinely, like you go into these abandoned buildings, like, and there are nice old, Victorian homes that are very done up nicely and everything. Mm-hmm. But this is changing all the time. She has this creative mind where Coco's never stays the same. So you might see something at one time, but the next day you come, it can be a completely different scene, a completely different theme going on. And it's comfortable. Like there's couches, it's fun. It's so cool. You just have to experience it. And during the day, Christopher could tell you after night, the energy, like when the lights go out, it's a completely different place. So during the day, it's fun. It's all this stuff. It looks completely different. But when the lights go out, the energy changes. And each room has a different feeling. Each hallway, each little nook and cranny, every corner is very intense.
It does.
And every night is different.
That's interesting too, especially the part that sticks out the most to me about that is the idea that like the energy shift between day and night, because I think the only place that I've really experienced that, and it's another place that's like not well known, because this is more of like a local place that's like haunted, but there's a wilderness reserve close to my area called Egypt Valley.
I have heard of that, and people say no one goes there. And I'm like, I don't know, I've never even heard of it. And I just put it in my back pocket, but
people don't really go there at night. Like I've been out there hundreds of times during the day fishing, and I'm one of the weird people that will go out there at night. But it's such, and pun intended, it's night and day. It's so different at night that it's interesting that you say that, because I haven't been a lot of places that have that sort of phenomena, and then you have to ask the question as to why is it and what is it about that space that's doing that.
So I don't want to give too many juicy details away about Coco, but we have a spirit, and Christopher knows. Her name is Marie. She is not friendly, and she has good reason to not be friendly. She does not like me. You'll know that right off the rip. I did nothing to her. She doesn't like me because I bring the tours there and investigators, and she hates it. But she likes Patience. She likes Sierra. She does not like me. She will go to the extent of like turning out the power. This has never happened until we started doing tours. It was a tour night. We had the news coming at the same day. They got there. We did our first 15-minute segment. I felt her going crazy. Coco sold instantly like 15 tickets to her event just off that first segment. And right when we were about to do the second part, the entire arcade power goes out. and this has never happened, ever. And they could not get it to turn back on. And I told Marie, I said, you can turn the power out now and get everyone to go home. And this was like 11 o'clock in the morning. There was no storm. There was nothing going on. There was no reason for this. And they couldn't get it to go back on until about 6 p.m. And that's when my tours start. So regardless, the lights are getting turned off anyway, is what I told her. So you can do all this. So I ended up being in the arcade from about 1 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning that night, completely by myself until the guests got there at 6. It was pretty terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It was a completely different feeling. The lights were all still on, but being alone in there still, it was just like eerie. But then when the lights go out, like I said, it's a completely different place.
Wow.
It's a completely different place, especially when you're by yourself. It's terrifying. I just showed Christopher a video. I stepped out for 5 minutes to take guests to vape on a tour, and one, he doesn't smoke at all, so he stayed in. And I showed Christopher this video. He's in there and he's taking the video and he's like, I'm by myself in here. And then you hear this big loud boom right next to him, and his head turns and he goes, what the? His GoPro shuts off next. Then he goes, oh my God. And then like an animatronic thing that moves when you walk in front of it, way off in the back, just starts going off. All three things just back to back.
Wow.
He comes up to me when I walk in and he goes, you will not believe this. And he shows me the video and I look at him and I said, and this is why I tell you guys I record every time I leave here by myself, because they do stuff when you're complete. They'll shake these, and we have an antique store down below too. Christopher got his second doll from. And I'm walking by myself. It only happens when you're by yourself. I'm walking by myself and they'll shake those doors because it's locked, and they'll start shaking them as I'm walking by. They like to freak you out. They think it's funny. And I run. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gone. I am out. Just cause it's an intense feeling that goes along with it. Like, I'm used to things moving and things like that, but there it's just really intense.
The second you mentioned that doll, there were shadows and movement over in the corner where she sits. So I keep looking over there to see if it can be anything outside that's causing it. And no, there's nothing.
She's like, I know these stories. She's like, I was there for all these stories.
There were shadows on the wall the moment you said that, right next to where she is.
She knows. And that antique store, it's funny, especially since I've started to go there. I'll come in early for a tour, a couple hours early, just to see what everybody's up to and say hello and hang out. And the antique shop owner, Leslie, she'll come running up to me and she'll be like, I swear to God, every time there's a tour night, things are falling over in my shop. And I just laughed so hard. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? Tell them to stop? I don't know what you want me to say. She's like, and they just do it. She's like, they just don't even care. She's like, it's me and 3 other people, and something just falls right over. And then I look and something else falls over.
That's funny.
I'm like, it's a thing.
So since this is going to be your guys' Paracon this year at the Cleveland Paracon, is there anything that you guys want to throw out there that, because again, from everything that I know about it, it's going to be probably one of the most unique Paracons that I've ever seen, been to, anything like that. So
I'm super excited about what we threw out there yesterday about the kids investigation.
Yes. Okay. So I kind of already gave them a hint on Facebook, and you know what? I'll put on there if they watch this episode, then they'll find out. So let's just tell them what it is anyway. So yesterday, well, in the beginning, me and Christopher were talking. I was like, I really want to have this kids friendly. I want kids to be involved because my kids are very involved, and my kids are very respectful in investigations. They do not go crazy. And I know there are other kids out there like this, and I know there are other kids out there that have gifts that might want to try it out as well. So I welcome kids on my Coco's tours and my theater tours and some other big places too. It just depends on the location. I told him this, and I said, we need to come up with more things to do within the con. And he threw out having a kids investigation on Saturday. And so we're going to have 2 kids mini investigations at 2 separate times, and we're going to cap it. So people will just have to hurry up and sign up for that, make sure they get their kid in, because, I'm sure it will fill up. And my kids will lead the investigation, and I figured they could have K2s and some cat balls, and we'll have 2 volunteers go with them and maybe give them some REM pods and see what they get.
Wow, that's awesome.
My kids get really good stuff at Coco's, and there are children's spirits there. They love to play. So I'm really excited to see what they'll get on their little investigation. And
That's
it's
awesome.
completely free. So the parents that come, their kids are also free. 10 and under is free. So it's all within the ticket holder. It's all included.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah,
so
I don't think anybody has done that. That's cool.
Well,
I've never seen anybody do that.
we want it to be more interactive because, like, at a Paracon, you just go in and there's just usually vendors and people talking and a lot of socialization. It's not really paranormal geared, I would say. So we're also going to be doing free private Estes sessions. So you can either take yourself in there by yourself, or you could bring like a friend, like two to 3 people at a time will be in a room, and you can record it yourself. You can set up your phone, and we'll have a volunteer controlling the SB7. You put the headphones on. If you want to blindfold, go ahead. If you don't want to, it's totally up to you. And you can record your session, and the volunteer will read a set of questions for you, and then you can see what you get, and you can go back and watch your video, and that also is included in your ticket.
Wow, that's cool.
I think that's cool too.
That's cool. I like that. That.
I'm going to say, too, we've just got more and more really amazing guests lining up for this.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm really thankful for all the people that are putting the time and volunteering everything that they're doing for the convention. Anybody that is a special guest will have all their information down below in the convention. And then, like I said, all the vendors upstairs are completely separate. That's like a completely different thing. So all their stuff will be down with us, and the vendors will be up above. I just want to clarify.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to be on the equipment panel. That's going to be so fun.
That's going to be really cool. I'm excited for the panels. I think we picked out some pretty good topics.
Yeah,
I think so. I think the number of panels we have, that's something that's different. I'm not used to seeing quite this many at a convention.
Okay. I didn't know. I've never really paid attention to it. So I kind of just went off like the vibe of what, I don't know. I just put some out there and see how we could do it. And then we have a lot of speakers that will be off in a separate room in our haunted objects room. It will be right off the event space. Wow. And they will be holding their own little things in there throughout the day as well.
That's awesome.
We will also have a number of featured promoted psychics. So above and beyond anybody who might be doing tarot in the vendor space, we will have a select few psychics that will have their own space, their own room. We'll promote them.
And these are psychics that Christopher has picked out that are more well-known. And, I'm not saying anybody is fake or anything like that, but they're really good psychics, like Christopher handpicked them. And Kathy Sparrow from Madison Seminary, freaking amazing. And
Stacia
then
Wills of Wardruna.
Stacia, we have her, and then Bree, oh my God. And she'll be on a couple panels too, as well as Kathy. So it's going to be really good. It's going to be really cool.
And I mean, not only do I know that these people are all really amazing with what they do, but I think they're all different enough that it gives the people coming for a session some great variety, or even the option of picking 2 or 3 different people and having a very different experience.
Yes. There will also be a grounding space too for people to go in there and just kind of like ground yourself and like experience that. It will be there's going to be all sorts of different little stations and free stuff. It's going to be a good time.
That's interesting. That's cool. I like that. And like I've said this to Christopher 100 times, so I'm gonna say it to you as well. Like anything that you need from me, want help with, just let me know. Like I am more than willing to help in any way that I can with it.
Sounds good. I'm gonna need your picture for your post.
Absolutely.
Or I'm just gonna steal one.
Just say that's cool. I mean, I'll get you one. That's no problem.
Okay.
So one thing that, just for anybody that's watching this that doesn't know you, doesn't know who you are, you've mentioned your tours, you've talked a bit about your work, but I don't think you've really given specifics about what Haunted Havens is. Talk about what you've created. Promote the hell out of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I have my own little paranormal tour company. I started it last year. The reason being is because, number one, I never really had a group, and I kind of was a loner for a long time. And like I said, I was really scared to say what I felt and felt like I always see spirits all the time ever since I was like really little. And I would tell my parents and they would just say, I'm crazy, this, that, whatever. Don't talk about that sort of thing. So I kind of just tucked away for a while. And then I started going to Savannah, Georgia, and it really just activated there. And I really couldn't explain the things that were happening, and it was starting to freak me out. So then I started realizing that I'm not that crazy, and this is a thing, and there's a community out there that actually welcomes people, and you can talk about this sort of thing. So once I started figuring that out, I was like, I want to take my kids with me. Like, they have experiences too, but not a lot of ghost tours allow it. So I ended up becoming friends with a lot of guides that let one or two of my kids come, but that just wasn't enough for me. And I hated traveling to Savannah, Georgia to do that. And I don't have $500 to rent out a building for me and my daughter all the time. So I was like, I think that it's unfair, and I think that other people should be able to experience this. And I also started noticing how people investigate just wasn't my style, disrespect, and just the way they go about it. I just didn't want to be around it. So I was like, I really would like to teach people the right approach. I think that they would get something out of this. So I bought all sorts of equipment, and I started, I got insurance, and I started my company. I LLC'd it, and I started talking to owners and holding events there. And I welcome everybody to come. This is not a group. This is open for any regular person. You can come alone because it's a guided tour. And after 2 hours, you can go off on your own. But I do expect you to stay with us at least for a little bit. It is a guided tour at first because I want you to experience what I teach you. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I at least want you to take it in and learn something from it. If you don't want to do it on your own, you don't have to, but I at least taught you. I can't say I didn't try. So that's the main reason why I do it. And my kids do come with me on a lot of these tours. And like I told Christopher the other day, I think we get a lot of activity when they do come versus when they don't come, because they know the right approach as well. And the children's spirit, they just love to play with them, and they'll play duck, duck, goose. And our tripwire, she'll go around and she ducks the spirits' heads. And when she chases them, the tripwire follows her right behind. So any non-believers, I mean, that right there is just unbelievable to me, in my opinion. Like, that is crazy for an interaction like that with a kid. And I think that anybody that wants to experience the paranormal should come with us, scared or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the main reason why I started Haunted Havens. And then I travel everywhere. We go out of state too, not just Ohio. We go to New York. I'm planning on going to Gettysburg soon. And then I'm also going to be holding an event at Farrar Elementary. I can't give a date on that yet. That's all the way out in Iowa. I do work there part-time. But that's just a whole different situation. So just keep an eye out for the Farrar event. But that's coming soon too. And that's going to be really fun because the spirits there, they know me really well. And if you watch the Farrar Elementary social media pages, you'll see me on there with just poltergeist movement all the time for whatever reason.
Wow, that's cool.
Let me know when you go to Gettysburg for sure.
Oh, okay. We're going to be going in February, but that's like a birthday trip and it's cold. So I don't know if you want to go then, but you're welcome to go then. And then we definitely go in the spring of a couple of months after that. We can go whenever you want, Christopher. I love Gettysburg.
I'm always down for a trip to Gettysburg.
I love it so much too. We go there all the time.
I've not yet been to Gettysburg, and I've always wanted to go.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
When I was there in July, Zeke learned how to use my credit card.
Oh. My God.
Yes, he spent a lot of money. He bought a painting. He bought a uniform.
Are we sure it was Zeke and you just didn't want those things, and you have a scapegoat to he bought those things?
No, it was Zeke. I just didn't work very hard to stop him.
I will say the uniform's probably cool. I want a uniform too.
It's pretty cool. I've got it displayed down in my library. My library is getting stranger and stranger. There's a suit of armor down there now.
Oh,
Nothing will ever beat the day I walked in the house and David's sitting in the rocking chair and I'm carrying a suit of armor. Just like nothing to see here.
We have one at Coco's now.
Nice. Actually, when I transported it home, that might be even better than when I carried it into the house. I had my front passenger seat tilted back and I had it laying down across the seat. And there's definitely someone attached to it. I was having a conversation with them on the way home. It was almost like the day I went under in the car and I had the seat back. It was almost like that, but this was with the spirit attached to a suit of armor.
And you have a Ouija board as your license plate on the front.
I do. Yes, I do. And my license plate is Tangina, the little psychic from Poltergeist.
I was cracking up when I seen it. I was like, no, he didn't.
Want to hear a great story about that board? So I was having my weekly beard grooming once, and one of the other clients in the shop noticed my car and the board. And the person who was doing his haircut or beard grooming, she looked like she'd have a Ouija board on the front of her car. So he asks her, "That's your car, isn't it?" He says, "No, it's not mine." And he's like, "Well, that's good because that's evil. Whose is that?" And I turned and I looked down there and I looked at her like, "Don't you fucking dare."
Oh.
And she didn't. She was like, "I don't know." I was this close to taking a nap in the chair and I was just like, no.
Or how about when we was at the Halloween event for Fairfield, and we were in your room, and there was the one couple of parents that like literally lifted their kid over your Ouija board doormat because they wouldn't let their kid step on it.
That was great.
I mean,
never mind the fact that there's like 50 of them in the room you're stepping into.
Yeah, there was like.
Was it like they shouldn't step on it kind of board, or like were other people stepping on it on accident or something, or were they scared?
No, it's a doormat. I don't care if people step on it. It's a doormat. They can step on it all they want.
Yeah, the point is kind of to step on it. Like,
I thought it was a mat. I thought it was like a board or something on the ground.
No, it's a doormat.
Yeah, it was a legitimate doormat, and they were just so fearful of like the Ouija board that they wouldn't let their kids step on it, so they like purposefully lifted them over the doormat. It was hilarious.
When I'm looking around the room like, you're afraid of that mat, but you're going to take them in this room.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you're in the building, bro.
Like there's haunted objects all over the place. There's 50 other Ouija boards throughout. I was like, this is crazy.
And then going back to Gettysburg, this summer when I was there, I was walking down the street going to meet some friends for dinner. And this woman randomly walked up to me and she said, "Can I pray with you and help you get rid of your demons?"
Me too. Me too.
At Gettysburg?
Yes.
It had to be the same woman.
She's the same woman, old woman.
Yes.
Just she's like walking around looking.
Yeah, she looked like an old school marm.
Oh my God. I literally looked at her and I said, "No, ma'am." And she said, "Okay." And she just kept on walking. I was like, what in God's name was that? I have never had something like that happen.
I also told her no. And I went as far as letting her know that my demons and I get along just fine. We like each other.
What you need to do for the future when this would happen again is you need to specifically study some Latin. So if you ever have this happen to you again, just respond in Latin. Really throw her off her game.
We had Jehovah's Witnesses come by Coco's one time. And no disrespect, I grew up one like heavily. My parents were very it was miserable. I had a miserable childhood, let me tell you. I didn't even know what a Christmas party was. Okay. Like, no idea. So they came by and they came in and they were talking about Coco's and they were talking to me and they loved it. And I was like, yeah, if you ever want to do a paranormal tour, just come back at nighttime. Cause I mean, they seemed down to earth. So I just threw it out there to them. They backed up at least 5 steps from me. And they were like, you know, you can come to one of our services anytime and we can get rid of that evil from you and we can save you. And I just stared at them and I was like, yeah, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness and I think I'm perfectly safe. I think everything's fine. And then like this woman, the rage in her eyes, she started questioning what congregation I went to, who my parents were. She had to know everything. And I mean, I combated her and I started asking her questions about her religion. I said, so you can go door to door and promote your religion and what you believe in and expect people to accept you. But you come into my space and I just offered for you to come. I'm not suggesting anything and you're having a fit. I'm like, so please stop with this because it makes 0 sense. And she just stopped and looked at me and she just told me to have a good day. And then one of the other ones in her group that was with her came up to me and they said, I'm so sorry. We're not all like that, you know. And then I said, don't worry about it. I said, it's not everybody and this isn't everybody's thing. I was like, but neither is what you guys do. And she's like 100% agreed. And I was like, to each their own. Have a good day. And we all went our separate ways and I've never seen them again.
And I will say they're not all like that.
No.
I used to have 2 ladies that took dance classes with me years ago that were Jehovah's Witnesses. These ladies were delightful. I loved every week when they'd come in.
It's just like any religion, honestly. You have people that are just like so crazy, you know, strict by the book into it. And then you have people that are more like realistic and just the idea of what they believe in. They don't do holidays because they are pointless. They don't mean anything. If you really think about it, Christmas is freaking witchcraft, if you ask me. And birthday, you're putting candles on a cake and singing happy birthday. That's witchcraft as well. You're wishing a happy birthday and all singing it together around. You're all doing the same thing. So
they were all paganistic in origin. And then when the Roman Catholic Church started going through and making everything their own thing, they altered little things. And what's interesting, because I understand everything. I didn't grow up Jehovah's Witness, but I grew up a Christian. And and actually it's funny because like one of the things that I'm currently working on that Christopher knows about is I'm actually writing a book based upon like this whole like religious, like how everything's manipulated and stuff.
It's all government based. It's all money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. It's just all money. And I think once people are able to break free of that and, you know, essentially stop being a part of the sheep, I think once you break free of that mindset and you stop caring what everyone else is doing and thinking, and you set your own path and you start believing in yourself, I think a lot of things spiritually just start naturally coming to you because you're ready and you're open for it. But if you're not, you're just going to stay on that path and you're just going to keep believing what everyone else is telling you.
Yep.
Right. I absolutely agree with that. I was at a car dealership having an oil change one day and I had my laptop and I was just sitting there. I am writing away. I'm just going. There's no moment where I stop and I might look like I'm thinking or stuck. I'm just typing away. And this woman comes up to me and she says, Hi. I'm not even looking up. I'm just writing. She's like, I just want to say to you that I hope your day gets better than it has been. Okay. I mean, I wasn't, whatever. So I thanked her and kept writing. She comes back 5 minutes later and she says to me, may I pray with you?
Oh my God.
And I stopped typing and I looked at her and I said, no, thank you. And like everybody else sitting there looked up and gasped. And it occurred to me at that moment that all of these people who had that reaction had this expectation that I would have just said yes to her to appease her. Well, no, no is a sentence. So she ends up leaving. They call her name for her car. It was ready. She leaves the room, comes back again, sits down next to me and starts praying out loud. And at this point, I set my laptop down. I stood up and I said to her, I told you no. What part of that was unclear? Just no. Now you need to leave. And she did. At that point, she left and didn't come back.
In what mindset are these people in? Because I'm just curious as to why you would do that.
I think it's like, I mean, as we sort of touched upon before, though, is like, it's just this, it's a manipulation that has started from a young age, that essentially whenever you grow up in that sort of setting, no matter what religion you're in, the one thing that they are basically all the same at is that they are the only religion that is 100% right. All the other ones are incorrect in some sort of capacity. So they convince you from a young age that, hey, you're in the right religion and you need to save everybody else, because you don't want them to have this sort of, you don't want them to be damned for all of eternity. So, like, you need to save everybody. So then they sort of make it their life mission, because again, it's a brainwash, and it's like,
It is.
this person isn't necessarily evil, because like in their head they think they're doing something right.
100%.
But it's just been a master manipulation. And it's like, it's kind of like the book that I'm writing, is that it actually dives into, like, I don't know how familiar you are with like Anunnaki and stuff like that, but like
somewhat.
But basically, like, the book that I'm writing is about like how originally all religions have been a master manipulation of what was true, but it is a political power, in the sense of, there was an entity that from thousands of years ago, that was basically related to the Anunnaki stories and all that, that basically wanted full control.
Right.
And master manipulated. Now, throughout time and history, these different political powers like Constantine and different entities that have come along, that have kind of thrown their own hat in the ring, per se, that have manipulated certain things. That's where you get the different denominations, as it's sort of spread, and everybody's had their difference of opinions on certain things, yada yada yada. But the point of it is that it's funny how a lot of them will be very similar, with like one altercation that makes them different, but yet they're the only one that's right.
I agree. And, the main question here for me to all of them is, how are we all here? Why would that God, if this is all true under the same book, God, all of it together is supposed to protect us, this, that, whatever. There's a lot of effed up crap going around in this world.
Yeah.
Why would that thing allow all these bad things to happen if this is the case? I'm just saying, why would we go through all of those steps, all these processes, when he or it can just make things happen? Why would it make this civilization, this realm, go through all this horrible stuff if it's such a good thing? If it's such a wonderful entity, if it's such a wonderful being that we all should worship it and put our time out of our lives into it every day, whatever, believe into this thing, if it allows all of that to go on.
Exactly. And it's funny, is like, and again, anybody that sees this and is religious, it's like, I'm not necessarily saying this to like come at you. I'm just saying, like,
right, in general,
really read what's there, because like, I've read the Bible myself.
I agree.
I know what it says. If you actually read the Bible, what's interesting about it is that whenever you look at Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him,
right,
what he actually represents is free will itself. Because because anything that's in the Bible that it tells you is that everything you do is supposed to be for this God, which funny enough, they convince you that like, oh, this is a God of love, but it's not. It's a God of fear, because everything that you're being told is, hey, do exactly what I'm saying, or you're going to be damned for all of eternity in the worst
Yes.
possible way that you could. But anything that you do that isn't what I say, that's following Satan, which is literally free will itself.
And I was going to say, and if you actually look at the story of Satan himself,
Mm-hmm.
he really basically said the same thing as me. You know, if you're this God and you can do all this, then why are you doing this that way? Like, why can't we try it this way? You know, like that being is in control and doesn't want anything else. Nothing.
Right.
Like, you're not allowed to say anything is
Well,
really
just
what
like,
it comes down to.
right. And it's like there's certain things, the things that I think we could agree upon is the idea that like, oh, it would make sense if like you were a horrible person in life, why you would be punished and stuff like that. But that's not all what it says. It even says things such as like, oh, if you don't believe Jesus was the Messiah and was Christ,
Yes.
you'll go to hell. And it's like, wait, so you're telling me that just because I didn't believe that he was, you know, God's true son or whatever, that I'm going to go to hell? It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Do you know my daughter, my oldest, she has a different dad than my current two. You know, I'm still together with him. And she goes, when we first separated, she was very young. You know, she was 6 months old. So when he got a new girlfriend, her parents would take her to church. And I didn't know about this. And then one day she came home and she was so scared. And she was like, Mom, I lied. And something bad's going to happen to me because the devil is going to get me because I lied. And it was the dumbest thing. She lied over like a pack of juice that she drank.
right.
And I looked at her and I said, that's not even real, Oakley. I'm like, everything they're telling you is to scare you. I was like, you will never go back to that place again. And she never did. I made sure of that.
That breaks my heart that she went through that.
Yes. Yes. So imagine all the other things that she probably was taught by that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So also I don't know, my dad still does when he got a divorce, he ended up coming to live with us, and he has like his own little thing down in our basement. Well, he's still a Jehovah's Witness. He reads the Bible every single night. And I will tell you this, he knows the paranormal is real because he lives with me and the dolls right here. And, you know, like when he first started to see me start doing this stuff, he was freaking out. He was like, you're doing witchcraft, you're doing this. Like, he thought it was like some evil thing. And I sat him down and I had to break it down for him. And I like showed him, I said, look at this book. It says witchcraft and it has a pentagram on it. This is not evil. I'm like, this is a guide showing you what the steps are introduced. I was like, this has nothing to do with black magic. These are completely separate things. Yeah. I'm like, you can do evil magic, but that is not what I do. I'm like, right. I am focused on love and light type work.
Right.
This is not, I was like, you are confused. So once I educated him, and then he started seeing all the paranormal activity, like the dolls knocking each other off he experienced things here.
Yeah.
Once he started doing that, there was no denying it.
Yeah. No,
it was his face. But he still reads the Bible and he still believes in his religion, but he also knows there's something else out there as well. But do I take it away from him that he thinks that, you know, there is something beyond the paranormal as well? No, I'm not going to take that from him. He's allowed to believe in whatever he wants.
Right.
Well, and that makes sense because at the same time, it's like pretty much anybody that's in the paranormal field has the consensus of like, well, yeah, there's something there. You know what I mean? Like something created everything. You know, we might have our difference of like based off of what we've researched and stuff like that, like what the true answer is. But at the same time, we're all in agreement of like, well, yeah, there's something there. It's just the fact that like all of the things that you've been told about growing up are real. And it's interesting that like you kind of brought up that what these religions do, again, from a very early age, is that they convince you that anything witchcraft is evil. And that's just not the case. Is that, yeah, you can use these things for evil, but they are not themselves inherently evil. But what I think is interesting about this concept, that again, tying this back into the manipulation side of things, is that performing any type of witchcraft is actually it can be used for self-healing, self-growth,
So
all of these things. And so therefore in the religious like sort of thing is that they want you to be reliant upon God himself.
let me
So
ask you this.
yeah.
What are they doing when they're worshiping the Holy Spirit and letting an entity in the church enter them and take over them while they're singing and praying and doing that? That's beyond us,
Well,
us putting out a bell and asking a question. What they're doing is beyond that. I'm sorry, like that's a whole step above.
you're right. It in itself is a form of witchcraft. What they don't realize is they're performing a ritual. And so interestingly enough, and this is something I'm still kind of researching, so I won't put too much out there because I try not to put anything. I try not to say too many things that I'm not like 1,000% sure of, but I'm still sort of researching this. But what's interesting is I don't remember the full name, and that's partly what I'm still trying to figure out. But there was an old god from Atlantean times
Mm-hmm.
that I can't remember his full name, but a part of his name was actually Amen, which is interesting because that is the name, or that's essentially what you say at the end of prayer in the Christian religion. Now, if you think about this, it versus every other religion. Why is it every other religion, whether it's a pagan religion or whatever, whenever you speak to a god, you claim who you're speaking to. So like, let's take Norse mythology, for instance. If you're wanting to speak to Odin, you announce that I'm praying to Odin, right? But the Roman Christian church is really the only one that you don't like. God doesn't have a name per se. He just says I am, right?
Right.
At the end of prayer, you say Amen. So
Yeah.
the theory and what's going to be a part of my book is what I theorize is that this ancient god from the Atlantean times, and again, I don't remember his full name, but the Amen that he uses, that's actually the god in which they're praying to. He's the one that has been manipulating all of this stuff over time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it, and what it comes down to is, in my opinion, I have one life to live, and I am not gonna live in fear over what's gonna happen to me when I don't know. So I'm gonna make sure I live the best possible life off of what's gonna make me the most happy and the most comfortable. I don't want to believe something that's gonna make me scared or make my kids scared. I 100% tell them it's going to be okay. If one of us passes away, it's going to be all right. In the end, I think that we'll meet up with each other in another lifetime. We'll be together at another time, and it's going to be okay. I don't want them thinking that if they did something wrong or they lied because they had an extra juice pack and didn't tell their mom, that they're going to go to hell and they're going to burn on fire for all eternity over a juice pack. It's not happening. We're gonna celebrate Christmas as a form of happiness because it's the end of a year, and we're coming into a new light, not because of a religion. That's why we do Christmas. We do Valentine's Day because we show love to each other. We celebrate our birthdays because that's what you do. That's what humans do, not for any other reason. I'm not worshiping anybody. I'm just doing me. That's all I do.
No, I agree with that. I love that. That's awesome. I 1000% agree with everything you just said.
You can't live your life based off other people's opinions, and that goes for a lot of people out there that are scared, that do have abilities, and you see stuff and you're too scared to say it. You got to stop being scared to say it because it's there. Yeah. And whether other people want to believe you and you want to be called crazy, it don't matter, because in the end, we're all going to the same place.
You're right.
Absolutely. That was very well said.
Thanks.
I agree.
That was an interesting turn this took.
It was, yeah. It took a turn, but it was interesting.
I didn't know we were going to go there, but I'm glad we did. It was.
Do we ever know where we're going to end up? I think every week we just sort of see what happens and where the conversation goes.
That's very true.
It's like yesterday. We could not stay on topic if our life depended on it.
I think it's interesting though, because I feel like a lot of times you'll find that like that's when some of the most pertinent information is discovered, found out, however you want to say that, but like, because it's like sometimes whenever you go into something with a plan and it gets thrown off because that's not what you're supposed to take out of it. So
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you just have these random, like, let's see where it goes, sometimes some of the most important information comes out of that.
That's how I start my investigations. I expect nothing. I go in there and I don't expect nothing from anything.
I think my show tonight's going to be pretty random. I know that by the time this goes live on Wednesday, tonight's show will already be over. But my guest for Paranormal Playbook tonight is Shelly from the old Paulding Jail. So who knows where this is going to go? This is going to be great.
You have an event with her, right? At Bill Manor coming up?
Yes. Yes. We've got spiritual cleansings and healings.
That'll be fun.
So we'll be using sound healing and meditation.
And that's January 31st.
Correct.
You guys better get your tickets.
And Bill Manor is such a great location.
It is. That's where we played Duck, Duck, Goose in the basement with Oakley and that tripwire. They went nuts.
That was our first ever film series, was at Bill Manor.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good spot. I love Carlo.
Me too. He's a great guy.
Yeah, speaking of which, we'll have to have you out and join us for an investigation at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you guys definitely can come to Coco's anytime. You just have to let me know. So then I just won't go to work that night. It's not a big deal. Like, I'm very flexible. So you just give me a date and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things is you can't have a bad day at work if you don't go.
Yes.
It's not so bad either way. It's easy, but we have a 1940s theater in Barberton that has no reason to be haunted. There's one recorded death of a guy that worked on the place with the owner. He fell off the roof to his death like 15 years ago, but besides that, there's no reason for this place to be haunted. And the stuff we get there, I mean, I think I get more there in 4 hours than any other place I go.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Even the guests that do privates and stuff, they get full body shadows in their pictures, and they turn off and on the lights. We had one group that bought them a pizza. And I mean, that night was the most crazy night. We had a cat ball roll right in front of our face. All sorts of stuff.
Wow.
All sorts of stuff. It's crazy. Coco's in the theater. You wouldn't expect it, but they are just always popping off.
I love it. That's fantastic.
That is cool.
Yes.
But I just got to say real quick, we've loved having you on. This was an awesome episode. Thank you so much for coming on. And
that was a good time.
I can't wait for the Cleveland Paracon.
Me too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.